This is the End Zone. Before we start the video, comment down below. Do you know who Trey Lance is? Because I think you're about to. We're going to break down the film and we're going to look at some stats. But Trey Lance is probably the third or second best quarterback in the draft coming up. Maybe just behind Justin Fields, but depending on who's drafting there, he might be drafted over Justin Fields from Ohio State. And I'm going to break down the pros and the cons as always. But let's look at his stats. Passing, 2,700 yards passing, 28 touchdowns, and zero turnovers. My guy, Trey Lance. But not only can Trey Lance throw, he can run. So let's look at his game-by-game statistics real quick. I'm going to point out some incredible stats that you might not see at first glance. So here, obviously, he's a dual-threat guy, 1,100 yards. So in a season, he threw for over 1,000 and he rushed for over 1,000. Also got 14 touchdowns. Big play guy. He can do it all with his feet and with his arm. He had 11 games where he threw over 60% in the completion percentage column. That, my friend, is crazy. Ended the year with a 66.9 completion percentage. I mean, this guy balled out. He didn't turn it over. He didn't make any mistakes. So let's look at this film and talk more in depth about who Trey Lance is and what he can do. So we mentioned Trey Lance as a runner. What I like about Trey Lance is he has a nice mixture of speed and physicality, something you don't really always find in a quarterback. He's a nice medium between the two. He can also throw on the run. I'm going to show you that after, but here's some great examples, using that physicality, getting big, making a guy miss, and making a guy go down. He's not going to go down with these arm tackles, so he's a very athletic and strong runner. And then here's a great example again of him throwing on the run with great mechanics and accuracy. So now that we know that he can run the ball, we have to look at his deep ball. And we're going to look at two things. So his deep ball itself, its accuracy, and his beautiful throwing motion. First of all, we're just going to talk about how accurate it is. It is an incredibly accurate deep ball. And a lot of times when you see a guy and people say, oh, I like this quarterback because he has a big arm, it's kind of misleading because big arm doesn't necessarily mean accuracy. He's got a big arm and he is accurate. That's what's very important. And I mean, look at this throw. He has some of the most beautiful mechanics on the deep ball. He can fling it right over the top. His release is almost perfect. I'm going to show it to you a couple times. Just look at this release and look at these deep balls. He's got wide receivers open. He throws it perfectly right into the breadbasket. And again, the release and the throw right over the top. Beautiful passing from Trey Lance. That's something that sometimes can't be taught. There are a couple other noteworthy positives to his game, like him playing in a pro-style offense. That's very attractive to NFL owners, scouts, and GMs, coaches, what have you. He's a guy who's run under center and run in the shotgun, so that's a very attractive quality to have. You also see that, if he does make wrong reads, which he does, he doesn't make plays worse by turning the ball over. He either throws it away or checks it down. So there's some small things that he does. He also has incredible pocket presence. That's a bigger thing. And you can see that in the stat column. He hasn't turned it over once. While Trey Lance is an awesome prospect, there are some negatives. And some of these negatives are things that are really out of his control, which kind of stinks for Trey Lance, but we still have to go over them. So first, the most glaring thing, he's in the FCS conference. He is not in the FBS. So the talent level he sees day to day, week to week is far less than a quarterback in the FBS would see. For example, you got Trevor Lawrence or really any other quarterback you see in the FBS. Not only does he play in a lower tier of college football, but he does play on the best team in that lower tier. And nobody can really challenge him. The athletes on his team, the prospects on his team are much better than all the teams he plays. So his team around him is far better. Could he get stats padded because of his team? Yes, that is very possible. Not only is his team much better, but his coaches are much better. So a lot of times in film, when you're watching him, you see wide receivers running wide open. That's just out scheming. That's very simple. The coaches at North Dakota State are better than most of the FCS coaches. They're winning a lot of games for a reason, and a lot of that is due to the scheme. There are a couple other things. He hasn't shown perfect accuracy, but then again, nobody really does. Nobody is perfect at the college level. And there are a couple other picky things that scouts will find, like mechanics aren't always 100% correct or how you'd like to see them. But at the end of the day, the dude has tossed 0 interceptions, 28 touchdowns. He can pass and he can run the ball. He could do a lot of things that are incredible. And I love what Trey Lance can do on the field. And if I were in the NFL, man, I would definitely give him a shot and draft him if I had the chance. I'd love to know what you think down below about Trey Lance. Thanks for watching the End Zone. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we can move the chains.